Now we have a very splendid panel, but before we introduce the panel, we'd like to say thanks to Robert Willman, to Mr. McCullough, and to Mr. Roper, our very kind camera and technicians for today. And now we have with us from the city of Grand Prairie 4 important people. You're looking at all 4 of us. We all feel like that we're very important to Grand Prairie because we love it and we want to make it better. But there are 2 special people from the city of Grand Prairie that work for the city of Grand Prairie that we want you to meet along with another special volunteer. And it's my privilege at this time to introduce Mr. Vince Detta, and he is with the city of Grand Prairie, and he's one of the executives and very important, and I'd like for you to get to know him better, so we have asked Vince to come on our show, tell you a little bit about himself so that you'll get to know him better. Vince, would you look right out into the camera and talk with our people in Video Land, tell them a little bit about how long you've been in Grand Prairie and just what you do with the city of Grand Prairie. Would you do that for us?
I'd be delighted, Ruthie. Thank you very much for that nice introduction. I was born and raised in New Jersey, and I'm married. I have 2 children. My son is 17, my daughter is 20. She's married, and my son's still with us at home. I used to work in the city of Killeen for 12 years, where I started out as a fireman. I advanced to a certified fire and arson investigator, and I am also a certified peace officer. I came to the city of Grand Prairie about 1.5 years ago. Mr. Ted Willis offered me the position, and I was so delighted to come up into the Metroplex area that I just couldn't turn down the opportunity to come up here. And Grand Prairie sure is a great city to be in, and I'm really enjoying it. My position is Director of Inspection Services, and the Director of Inspection Services has 2 divisions under Inspection Services. One is Code Compliance, which deals with property maintenance violations such as junk, trash, weeds, litter, junk cars, improper maintenance of housing, dilapidated housing and demolition, and also Building Inspection, which is a division which covers new construction of new buildings, commercial, residential, remodeling. If you want to put a portable building out in your backyard, you must come to Building Inspection and take out a permit, and I'm also over that division.
Wonderful. That sounds like a lot of responsibility, and I just know that the people in Grand Prairie are glad to know who is in charge of all of these good things, and who knows, maybe some of them will see a little trash dump or something and want to notify your office, and they can get you at 263-5221, and at what extension, Vince?
224.
224. Write that number down in the event that you would like to get in touch with Mr. Detta. And I know that you're going to want to introduce, before you have to leave us, since you need to get on to your work at the city, one of your cohorts in one of your departments, and we hope you would do us that honor at this time.
I sure would, Ruthie. George Poff is our supervisor of the Code Compliance Division, and he's my right-hand man, which I couldn't do without, because we get so many complaints that there's no way that I'd have to have a phone off of each ear if I... And George is my other ear and my right-hand man, and this is George Poff, who is the Code Compliance Supervisor.
And George, welcome to It's Happening in Grand Prairie. We're so glad that you came to be with us today with your boss and with another gentleman that we're going to be talking with in just a few minutes. And George, tell us some of the things that you do at the city of Grand Prairie in the code compliance area, and then would you introduce a very special person?
Yes, Ruthie, I'd be more than glad to do this. In the Code Compliance Division, we receive complaints in regards to high grass, inoperable vehicles, parking in the grass, trash, litter, and debris complaints, about any violation that occurs on private property other than traffic violations that occur in the street. I would like to, at this time, though, we work so close with the Community Home Improvement Commission, and I have with me here Russ Goddard, who is the chairman of the Community Home Improvement Commission. It's a group of 7 people appointed by the mayor and council with a representative from each area, and they in turn select their chairman. Russ was fortunate this year. He's been involved in CHIC, or Community Home Improvement Commission, since 1965, the conception of this. And Russ, would you like to say a few words in regards to the commission and yourself?
Well, I am Russell Goddard, and I have been working in the City of Grand Prairie with the Chick Commission since 1965. You can probably best remember me as the one that got the Christmas light program started in those years. This year I'm chairman of the Chick Committee. We have 7 members, 6 chairmen of 6 districts in the city, which we have divided up. By and large, we use the railroad track to separate the city from north and south, and then have put 3 districts on each side of the railroad track and put a chairman in charge of each district. Their names can be Nancy Norris is in charge of the South Central District, and she lives on Brent Court. Sam Brown is in charge of the Southwest District, and he lives on Southwest 17th Street. I'm in charge of the North Central. Ann Hall, who lives on Pine Street, is in charge of the Southeast District. Chuck Edwards from Cape Town is on the Northwest District. And Tassie Offel, who lives on Northeast 17th, is in charge of the Northeast District. Now, when we say in charge, they're not really boss of anything, but they generally oversee the districts and help to work with the neighbors in their contests of code enforcement with the city. We bring to the attention of the city some drastic violations of code enforcement. We also try to even bring people to our meetings and try to work out with them so that we can have a minimum of effort and a minimum of hard feelings in getting code enforcement taken care of. We know we can't become a garden spot of the world, but we would like to have our community looking a little better than they are. We'd like to get our streets cleaned up and our yards cleaned up, and other than that, why, we don't really have a very big job. But
all right, Russ, I'd like to ask you this. How much money does the city pay you and your Chick Commission for serving and doing all of this work with their neighborhood area?
the usual fee.
Yes.
They raised my taxes, I think, last year on my property.
You are a volunteer
we're
group,
volunteers
aren't you?
all. You know, you joke about it, but anybody, I was raised to contribute to my community, and this is one way that I contribute to it. And we are volunteers, and we're happy to do it because we're all very interested in seeing that our community looks like a rose.
Now, Russ, I want to ask you this. Where do you meet and when do you meet? Because those in our viewing audience might like at some time to come and visit the Chick Commission meeting, because it is an open meeting, isn't it?
It's very much open.
Wonderful.
And we have had, at some of our last meetings, some people, some citizens who have been cited, have attended our meetings to see what it's all about. We welcome their input. We welcome their presence. And we meet the 3rd Monday of every month here at the City Hall. What's the name of that room, George?
Usually
That's
it's
the engineering conference room.
Conference room.
Engineering conference room,
The
isn't it?
engineering conference room is usually where we've been meeting. So we appreciate very much anybody that's out there that would like to come in and feed us a little input, because good knows we don't know everything. We're busy making a living too, like everybody else. So we welcome any input that we can get from the people.
Russ, we'd like to express our appreciation to you and the other members of the Chick Commission for the volunteer time that they give to the city, because I believe recently you've had them all out with a clipboard with a long list to go over all of their neighborhood, which probably encompasses 5 square miles or more for each one of those assignments, doing special things. And also we'd like to thank you for the time you have spent trying to make Grand Prairie Christmas City, USA. And at one time we really were, until we had the energy crunch. And maybe one day, who knows, you may be back firing up the town with all of the beautiful Christmas lights. It was a wonderful tenure.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be on here and mention this. It might be good if George could tell the city the backlog of complaints we've had. So we're doing a job. They have enough work to take them into 1985, I believe. But we're still continuing.
George, would you tell what the volunteers do to help you in your code compliance, some of the assignments you've made to them recently?
Yes, ma'am. Usually, whenever we need any help in the code compliance division, we can call on this volunteer group, because it's basically our eyes and ears into the community, and we get a feedback of the citizens' feelings of how they want the ordinances enforced, even though they're on the books, and it's a record that has to be kept and it has to be enforced. We use the Community Home Improvement Commission to relate back to our code enforcement officers. We was approximately 700 to 800 complaints behind. Now that means if you would call in a complaint to our department, there would be approximately 800 ahead of you, and the only way it would move up would be as the code enforcement officers would work them, unless it was a flagrant violation and it was detrimental to health and life. Then we would try to work these up immediately. We talked to Russ Goddard and his group. I told them the problem and all, and Russ said, well, let's divide these up, which we might say at this time, we have our code enforcement officers assigned close to the same area that Russ Goddard and his group has their volunteers.
That's great.
So thereby we give each volunteer a list of the cases that we was behind on. They went out, checked them, time took care of some people removed and corrected their own violations. Thereby when they turned the list in, it eliminated over 40% of the backlog that we had. Now Russ has called me and said, how can we get this, the other 60%? Not only when they was out clearing these or checking on them, they located some other violations that, you know, being an inspector, you may drive up and down the street and not notice anything. But these people live in these areas and they know where the flagrant violations are. So thereby, they let us know or how to handle it. Something Russ is a little timid about, he contacts the people himself when he drives up and down the street or if he sees a violation. Russ says, look, I'm just a citizen like you. I'm appointed to this committee, and I notice you have an old car sitting there. Do you know it's in violation? They say, how? Well, Russ takes care of it. That's a little better than the city coming out and saying, I'm a code enforcement officer of the city of Grand Prairie. I'm here to leave you a 10-day notice.
Right.
If it's not moved, you'll receive a citation. Russ goes along and he puts a soft touch. He explains to them there is an ordinance on it, and a lot of the people are not aware of it, especially since we have an influx of a lot of new people moving to Grand Prairie and so forth. They're not aware of the ordinances. So thereby this group is helping educate the people of the violations, and it gives them a better opinion of Grand Prairie.
And
I
George,
think Russ is doing a great job.
George, do you think maybe that you're going to come up with something so that the newcomers, when they come to town, might get a copy of the ordinances, or at least the title of the ordinances, so they can come to City Hall and read about it, and that way they'll be more knowledgeable about their city?
Right. This is the first time we've been on this TV as the information. This is one step. We're devising a brochure to whereby it can be mailed to all newcomers. We're setting up a program to visit the service clubs, maybe the churches, and just go out into the neighborhoods with a PR program to whereby the citizens will know what the ordinances are, Ruthie.
Good. Do you still do the area cleanups where you gather up the garbage and everything and then have a cleanup twice a year or whatever, George?
Okay, we're starting that this October.
Wonderful.
This month will be our first one back again like we used to.
Wonderful. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank both of you all for being on It's Happening in Grand Prairie. And before we leave, Russ, we want you to have a parting shot at the camera and everyone in video land and tell them how important it is for them to do their part to observe the ordinances and to keep this place clean so that we'll be clean and beautiful as we are getting ready for the sesquicentennial in 1986. Would you do that?
Well, everything Ruthie says is very true, and it does take everybody's cooperation. If everybody would just take care of their own front curbsides and their front yards and so on, it would help the city tremendously. The people working here don't like to go out and give citations, and they don't like to force people to do things. We hope that through this program that we can show you the wisdom in doing it on your own. And we have been the All-American City. We have been #1 and #2 runner-up in the nation for 6 or 7 years on the Fix Up, Clean Up campaign.
Right.
There has been tremendous effort over the many years to make Grand Prairie a better place to live in. And with that in mind, our committee is still working towards that end. But it is a continuing education process. And if anybody has any questions, they can call any one of the 6 chairmen that I named, who would be more than happy to work with them.
Right.
And if they have any suggestions, we'll be just really pleased to look at them and listen to them. And if they have merit, we'll put them into effect. If they don't have merit, we'll tell you why and how. We won't leave you hanging with a non-answer.
Thank you all so much for being on our show. And if you would like to be a volunteer to work with the Chick Commission in any way, I know that each of these 6 area chairmen are just looking for volunteers to help them in their particular neighborhood. And if you want to volunteer, get in touch with Russ Goddard, George Poff, or Mr. Vince Ditta, and we know that it will be a splendid contribution to the city. And thank you again, gentlemen, and we'll be right back.
Mom, I finished the dishes.
9 moments.
Dad!
Hey!
I got your egg!
Great! Come on up. Let's take a look at it.
Thanks for staying with us on It's Happening in Grand Prairie. And we're just so excited to tell you that we have 2 fan letters from people that have been on our It's Happening in Grand Prairie show. And we want you to know that we heard from the Dallas-Fort Worth Medical Center as a salute, and from Mr. Tommy Ellison from the Chamber of Commerce Membership Committee. And isn't that nice that the people will write to us about It's Happening in Grand Prairie? We have 2 wonderful guests, and one is not really a guest. She's almost getting to be one of our regulars. And Carol Shadden from the Chamber of Commerce, our PR director for the Chamber of Commerce, a volunteer. We'd like for you to introduce our guest and tell us why y'all are here today.
It's my pleasure, Ruthie, to be back with you again and to have the guest with us today who is absolutely familiar to everyone in Grand Prairie, wearing perhaps a little different hat today. Reg Crump, of course, is on the City Council, and he has been on the council now for 6 years. But today he is coming to us as Governmental Relations Chairman for the Chamber of Commerce. And Reg, there is something coming up in October that I want to hear about. But before that, Ruthie and I had talked earlier, and a lot of people here don't know where you work, what you do. Tell us just a little bit briefly about yourself, and then tell us about the big event.
Thank you, Carol. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and visit with you a little bit about the event we're going to have with the Chamber of Commerce. I will tell you a little bit about myself. My wife, Rochelle, and I have lived in Grand Prairie since 1967. I work over in Dallas. My office is in Dallas. The company I'm with is Dalcon Incorporated. We are a developer of single-family lots, and we develop lots and sell them to builders in various communities around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I've been with them about 5 years now. I'll visit with you just a minute about the event that is coming up on October the 19th. It's a Wednesday. The Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring a tour of the Joe Pool Lake. It was formerly known as Lakeview Reservoir. And we're sponsoring a tour that will be conducted by the Corps of Engineers. It is on October the 19th. It's a Wednesday. We've arranged to meet out at the South Grand Prairie High School parking lot at 11:30 a.m. To begin the tour, and there will be buses available to take the people that are taking the tour out to the lake site, and there they will be met by the Corps of Engineers representatives who will conduct the tour. A luncheon, a boxed lunch, has been arranged that we'll eat on the bus. The Grand Prairie Optimist Club has very cordially agreed to prepare the lunch, and it'll be available on the bus. The cost of the tour will be $5, and you can make reservations by calling the Chamber of Commerce office or going by the Chamber of Commerce office. We would ask that you do that by Friday, October the 14th, so that we can get a count on how many people will actually be making the tour, and we can get the numbers of buses that we will need arranged. But we're looking forward to it. We will have an opportunity to tour the dam site that is presently under construction and go by the areas where the 2 bridges are being built across the lake, and generally see the construction of this lake that will have having a very important impact on our community over the next few years.
Reg, didn't your committee sponsor a tour about 2 years ago? Was it a year or 2 years ago?
Well, we have toured the lake, but this is really the first tour of, the general community, and we're asking that any member of the community that would like to, go on this tour to call the Chamber of Commerce office. But the committee and some of the board has toured the lake.
So this is a real cooperative effort. With
Yes.
the Grand Prairie Independent School
Yes.
District is providing the buses for us,
Right.
and the Seroptimists are taking care of the lunches, and the Chamber.
We're trying to make this a community-wide effort because this lake will have a very important impact on our community. It will be filled in 85, 86. It is a water resource for our community. It will provide flood control for our community, and it also, the recreational aspects of this lake are very important to the citizens of this entire region. So we feel like that this ought to be something that the community would be interested in seeing, and seeing the progress that is being made there. And we'll hope that we'll have a very large turnout from the citizens of our town to go look at the progress that day.
Reg, I have a question.
All right.
What if it rains on that date of October the 29th? Do you have another rain date?
Yes, we have a rain-out date, so to speak.
Good,
And
good.
if it is raining on that date, we have arranged for the tour to be on the 26th of October, 1 week from the date that we originally would schedule.
And you're gambling that it won't rain both days.
Yeah, that's right. We're hoping it won't rain on the 19th, and we're certainly hoping if it does, it doesn't rain on the 26th.
Wonderful. Also, I'd like to ask you this. Who's going to be the expert that's going to tell you about the lake? Are you going to do this?
Well, we're going to arrange to have the Corps of Engineers. They have some
Wonderful.
tour guides that will be, getting on each bus when we get to the lake site, and they will tell us about the lake. We are going to provide a packet of information concerning facts and a map of the lake that will be available on the bus, so that everybody will have something that they can take with them and have the information concerning the lake.
Well, I'm looking forward to this lunch. The Seroptimist Club were very excited about preparing the lunch. Of course, part of the fee that you pay to go on the bus will go to the Seroptimist for they're using this as a service project, and they're going to build lunches for us for a fee, and the other will be used for incidentals. It's
Right.
my understanding.
Right.
Carol, is there anything else that you want to tell us about this? or-
There's a little plug I'd like to put in. The Public Relations Committee members are going to be there early at the parking lot and show
Great.
you where to park and help you board the buses, and we're appreciative of them for doing that. I just encourage everyone to do this. There is so much happening down there that let's go see, because it's going to make quite an impact, as Reg said, on our community in the future.
And Reg, you, I know, would give us a personal privilege to ask Carol to say a little bit of something about herself. Recently, there was a beautiful reception, I believe at the Gremlin Room, and Carol has changed working positions, and I would like for her to tell us and the general public where she is now and what she's doing, other than being the chairman of PR for the Chamber of Commerce. Carol, would you do us?
Ruthie, that's a pleasant surprise. I didn't know you were going to ask me that, but yes, I am now the Director of Public Relations for Independent American Savings, and they're new in Grand Prairie, and it's a wonderful relationship, and I think a great career move for me, and I'm excited about it. Thank you for asking.
And tell us how sad it is to leave where you were working.
Yes, as almost everyone in town knows, I've been associated with Congressman Frost for 5 years, so it's always difficult to change, but I think this is going to be a good move for me. There's a lot more stability in the long haul. No, I don't think Martin's going to have any problems, but there is stability in the long-range plan, and that's what I was looking at.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Reg. And we have a few wonderful public service announcements to give to you before we leave. It's happening in Grand Prairie. First of all, this is Walk and Watch Month. Now, this is the Grand Prairie Police Department's Neighborhood Watch program, so if you're out walking, doing your whatever, getting your exercise and for health advantages, take a look around the neighborhood, and if you see anything suspicious, this is a good way to improve your health and to help protect your neighborhood. Also, if you'd like more information about it, please call Pat Pavel at 263-4141. We'd also like to remind you that the PTA on October the 12th will be having their District 2 workshop. This is going to be in Irving. And there's a bus leaving from the Grand Prairie ISD at 8:30. So contact them if you want to go on the PTA workshop. Also, October the 27th is the PTA council meeting. Remember the school's hotline number, 264-4777. And Linda Ward is the PR person at the Grand Prairie ISD, and she'll be happy to help you. And October the 13th is the Board of Education meeting at the school ad building at 8 o'clock. This is open to the public. If you want to see what's happening in schools, go to that meeting. Also, there will be on October the 15th, the South Grand Prairie High School will have a carnival from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. And the Arts Council on October the 22nd is having an evening of dance, and that's going to be at the Chambers Auditorium. And please look into that because it's going to be very, very exciting. Well, Carol and Reg, thank y'all again for being with us.
Thank you.
Remember to mark your calendar for all of the good things. Remember that they need a PSA from the South Grand Prairie High School camera group, and we would like for you to hear that at the end of our show, and we salute them for providing us with this PSA that relates to School Activities National Week. And this is Ruthie Jackson with the Chamber of Commerce.
Carol Shadden with the Chamber of Commerce.
Reminding you it's happening in Grand Prairie.